Have you faced a traumatic, life-changing moment and you had zero control over it?
Yes.
Yes.
Did this moment affect you mentally, emotionally, or even physically?
Yes.
By a show of hands, is this moment still affecting you today? Imagine that this moment happened to you by the age of 4. How would you feel? Would you feel sad? Or maybe angry? Or would you even feel confused? Would you let this one moment take control of your life forever? Hello. My name is Isaiah Natali. I'm 27 years old, and this is my story. I bet you're wondering how I got into this contraption that we humans call a wheelchair. Well, when I was 4 years old, I was in a car accident. This accident was so devastating because not only was I paralyzed, but it took the life of my foster brother, who was sitting right next to me, and severely injured my foster father. At this age, I lost majority of control in my lower half. I lost the ability to stand on my own, go to the bathroom on my own, and to move independently without assistance. What are some of your favorite activities? What movements do these activities consist of? Take a second and reflect on how you would handle not being able to do these activities because you couldn't stand, walk, run, or even jump. Imagine being looked at like an outcast while the other kids connected through the use of their lower half. I was left alone to sit with my thoughts. From an early age, I had to wear a symbolic mask. This mask kept me from revealing my true self to others. It prevented me from being hurt. Behind this mask, I held in trauma, sadness, and anger. Now, I don't want you to feel sorry for me, because while I didn't have control over my car accident or certain abilities, I had control over something even better. Something not even a traumatic experience could take away. My way of thinking. Once I found out I could conquer and control my thoughts, then I knew my disability would become disability to get on stage and share my story with all of you. But to understand how I rode onto this new path, I'd like to take you on a journey that I like to call conquer and control. As I go through this talk, I'll explain what that is and how I started to conquer and control my life. From the age of 3 to 4, I lived with my first foster family. After my accident, I went to live with my forever family, the Natalis. Who knew that they would be forever? While I lived with my adoptive family, my biological mother passed away by the time I turned 7. She passed away from acute respiratory distress syndrome, also known as ARDS, which is complications from pneumonia. And when I went to her funeral, I remember touching her cold, lifeless, pale skin. The feeling of losing the one person that meant more to me than my own life made me feel like nobody was going to be in my life forever. As I hid behind this mask, it helped me become numb to my mother's death. Death is a constant in life. I can't control it. You can't control it. It's uncontrollable. The one thing I could conquer and control was my mind, thinking that my mother's love ended when she laid in that casket. Hearing from people that knew my mother, that she would be proud, allows me to keep that mindset that she still loves me endlessly. Even though losing my biological mother by the age of 7 felt horrendous, almost losing my life to multiple life-threatening infections, I couldn't even fathom. By the age of 10, I had an infection known as methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, also called MRSA. I had gaping holes in my hips. The pain radiating up my rib cage was so excruciating that it caused me to be physically sick. Infections are uncontrollable. That's why I had to conquer and control my health to help prevent infections from almost taking my life. That wasn't the only medically terrifying thing that happened to me. At the age of 14, I had 3 back surgeries. The first one, to put a rod in my back to stabilize my spine from the scoliosis I acquired due to my car accident. The second one, to sew my shoulder muscles back together because the surgeon forgot to. And the third one, to clean out yet again another infection I acquired in my young life. My childhood was like no other. Whether I had to face my car accident at the age of 4, the death of my biological mother by the age of 7, multiple life-threatening infections by the age of 10, and multiple back surgeries by the age of 14. It wasn't until a couple years later that the effects of this trauma would come to light. Life began to take a toll on me. At the age of 16, I started experiencing severe mental illness. This was when the mask couldn't hold back my true emotions anymore. I dealt with depression, suicidal ideations, self-harm, and addictions. I remember countless times that I tried to take my own life. What would you have done? I made the decision that I like to call conquer and control. Now, conquer and control isn't about controlling the situation. It's about controlling our reactions to those moments that happen to us. Do you know what's the one thing I could conquer and control at this point in my life? It's simple, but yet so difficult. Asking for help. I had to ask friends, family, and trusted mental health professionals for help. What's one thing controlling you right now? You don't have to say it out loud, but don't ignore it. Now you may be wondering, how did I get into this level of conquer and control? Well, let me tell you about my journey to self-control. For close to 20 years, I held an anger and resentment towards people who didn't even know I was angry with them. I remember going most of my life and thinking about how much I hate my first foster family. I thought of things like, I would despise you until the end of time. I hope you're suffering like I'm suffering. And if I hurt someone, it's because of you. This resentment stemmed from me thinking that my first foster family took away any chance I had at thriving like my peers around me who weren't disabled. I felt like I was unlovable because I was different. While I was feeling pity on myself, I didn't even keep in mind that family lost their son in that accident. At the age of 17, I was destroying property at my adoptive family's house. While dealing with being mentally fragile, I had the cops called on me many, many times. On a seemingly quiet night, I was a boiling pot, and with a little bit of heat, I would overflow. I remember going into my adoptive parents' kitchen and demanding and telling them that I want to move out at 17, not 18. Well, being disabled and underage, it's a lot harder to pack up your bags and leave. So as any good parent would, they told me no. And you guessed it. That was a little bit of heat that would send my boiling emotions to overflow. I began yelling and cursing at them. Anything in my path was getting thrown across the room. The worst part was when my adoptive father walked towards me to calm me down, and I lunged at him to attack him. All I could think about before lunging at him was how I was going to make someone else feel like me. I was willing to risk my freedom to make someone else walk a mile in my shoes. I was willing to risk my freedom to make someone else walk a mile in my shoes. From the mental pain of my car accident, to the emotional distress of losing my biological mother, I wanted everyone to experience this trauma. Maybe, just maybe, by hurting others, it make me walk again. Or maybe it would bring back my biological mother. These were the unrealistic thoughts I was having growing up. I was severely traumatized and thought by hurting others that it would make me feel better. I remember my adoptive mother yelling to my father to come to her. And when he did, they called the cops. The cops came and took me for a mental health evaluation. After a psychiatric stay of over 2 months, that's when I knew I needed to conquer and control. Conquer and control allowed me to free the rage that I felt at this point in my life. I didn't have control over the situation, but I had control over how I reacted. How did I get here? How did I get into this new mindset of conquer and control? Well, I had to do 3 steps. The first one, I had to quit poisoning my body. I had to quit all drugs and alcohol. Anything that wasn't beneficial to me, I had to stop. Second, I had to take better care of my mental health. I had to start praying more and seeking out my God. Because without my God, I wouldn't be here speaking to any of you. I also had to reach out to a counselor and psychiatrist when I needed help. Why? Because there is no shame in asking for help. And lastly, I wanted to remember to honor my deceased mother. This was the woman that gave me up for adoption so that I could have a better life than what she could provide me with. So by honoring her, I enrolled in college and got my degree in communications. I became an inspirational speaker to help others because my mother was big on helping others. And I started taking better care of myself because I knew my mother would want me to be happy, healthy, and safe. I want to carry on my mother's values of being a loving, caring, productive individual. Quitting drugs and alcohol, taking better care of my mental health, remembering to honor my deceased mother, allowed me to take control of my life and put on a face that was a much happier version of myself. When you leave this room today, you'll face something that you can't control. But you can't control what you do next. I know this story may seem like a lot, and I don't want you to feel sorry for me. The message I hope you receive today is, no matter the situation, no matter if you have control of it or not, you do have control over what you do next. Conquer and control your world and stop letting your world conquer you. My name's Isaiah Natali. Thank you.